If Jamaica is going to accept these 62 people from the United States of America, it should have accepted the 45 healthy people that came on the ship. Just like gone on YouTube, figure your brain some new food. Hello people, and welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time on the channel, a special welcome to you. I ask that you check out the rest of my videos. If you like what you see, give them a thumbs up, leave a comment, but more than anything, I'm asking that you subscribe to the channel. Today's video is titled, Jamaica Kneels to King Don. Some accepted and some rejected. I'm actually referring to the 45 Jamaican ship workers who tried to return home and was denied entry because of the pandemic. However, on the flip side, Donald Trump says he's going to send back some Jamaican deportees, about 50 to 60 I heard, but the number 62 was quoted. And Jamaica Minister of National Security, that is Dr. Horace Chang, he says he have actually managed to delay the deportation, but at some point has to accept. And at some point is referred to as within a week or two. So might as well just forget the delay. If it's only going to be a week or two before these 50 to 62 people get sent back to Jamaica, it makes no difference, and that delay is kind of like pointless. But before I get into all that, the Don, the King, and Jamaica's kneeling, let me give a shout out to my Guyanese people, because I read something recently about Guyana and the United Kingdom, and what I understood from it is that the United Kingdom actually still have a hold in Guyana. Some researches that I did led me to understand that Guyana was actually liberated or found independence in 1966, so about 4 years after Jamaica got its independence from the United Kingdom. So from my understanding, some election ran in Guyana recently, and it has been suspect that some illegality took place. And the UK government is saying that if they don't have like a rerun, or if it's not done fairly and squarely, the Guyanese government will not be recognized internationally. I don't know a lot about what's going on in Guyana, so I want my Guyanese people to reach out to me and give me a level of understanding. I also read that your motto is one people, one nation, one destiny. I found that very interesting, especially after I saw the ratio of Black Guyanese versus Indian Guyanese. But like I say, to my Guyanese people, fill me in on what's going on in your country. And this channel is mostly about Jamaica, but I do care and love all my Caribbean people, even though Guyana is in South America. Guyana is probably the one South American country that feels like it's Caribbean to me. I mean, let me know if I'm the only one that feels that way. Anyway, let's get on back to today's subject, where Jamaica kneels to King Don. Again, you guys can already give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down if you actually agree with that statement, because that statement is my saying. Obviously, Donald Trump has not been an ordained king, but hey, let's face it, the Don has always acted as if he's not only the president of the United States of America, but the Don has always acted as if he's the president of the world. So it was only right that, you know what, I just titled him Don King. At first I was going to say Jamaica kneels to King Donald I, or King Don, but I thought King Don sound better because we all know about Don King. So King Don, Don King, y'all get where I'm going with that. Anyway, on to more serious business. So on the initial establishment of the pandemic, I did do a video where Jamaica's Minister of Foreign Affairs was saying that Jamaicans in Wuhan, China were pretty much on their own. And a lot of Jamaicans responded to that video and was saying that they agree with Kamina Johnson-Smith for the simple fact that those Jamaicans in Wuhan, China could come to Jamaica and they could make matters worse for all the Jamaicans. And you know what? I did start seeing the point of those commenters, and I somewhat agreed with them. But as the pandemic worsened and every country around the world had figures of their nationals inland showing signs of being infected. In my opinion, I just thought that in that case, then every country should embrace their nationals. I understand that it is a danger whether a national is infected or a non-national is infected. This is not about nationality. Anybody that has this virus can pass it on to another. But what I'm saying, since the rest of the world is closing borders and stopping all that transition of people moving around from country to country, Jamaica should, in this case, have accepted its citizens. So here's where I have to criticize Jamaica, and here's where I have to say Jamaica has knelt to King Don, because 45 Jamaican ship workers, healthy people. So from my understanding and from what I've read and the information that I've gathered, no one on the ship was positive for this illness. Nobody, the Jamaicans or the non-Jamaicans, no one on this ship. So this ship had the green light. So everyone on this ship was healthy and fine. Still, Jamaica says, we're not taking no chances. We're not taking no chances, so we're not going to let these 45 Jamaicans come back home, even though they were in the waters of Jamaica. Okay, so those 45 Jamaicans were sent away and they were headed to Portugal for acceptance. I really don't know what happened because it's like a week ago. And if you guys know what happened, please fill me in. But I'm only addressing the fact that they couldn't go back home, even though they were on their home's door. They were knocking on their home's door. They were right there. They could see the land. They could smell the land. They just needed someone in power, whoever is in authority, whether that be the Ministry of Health or the Prime Minister himself, to give the okay so they could disembark. That didn't happen. They were sent away like they were actually foreigners. Did Portugal accept them? I don't know. On the flip side of that, 50 to 62 people that are being deported from the United States of America are being accepted by the Jamaican government. Now, these 50 to 62 people were exposed to positively infected people, because what I read and understand was that some people was going to be deported, and anybody that shows positive signs of the virus would be delayed. That in itself tells me that whoever is going to be sent to Jamaica were exposed to someone that possessed the virus. So I want you to weigh it up for me. So on one hand, we have a ship of 45 healthy Jamaicans, and they just want to go home. The Jamaican government says, no, y'all got to go back where y'all come from. Find somewhere else to be accepted. And 50 to 62 people who were in an environment with positively infected people are now being accepted to Jamaica. So, is it just me, or is it that the United States of America has that much power over Jamaica? I read the article. I heard what the Don says. The Don says any country that refuses to accept their citizen upon deportation, a visa sanction will be imposed upon them. So who cares about that? Jamaica is already under a visa sanction to go to the United States of America. All Jamaicans require a U.S. visa to enter the United States of America. So Donald Trump can't impose any more visa sanctions on Jamaica than what we already have. So it only leads me to think something else. Two things. Is it money? Is it monetary gain for each deportee to the Jamaican government? Or is it just flat out cowardice to Donald Trump, and we Jamaicans, Jamaica itself has to show that they are afraid of the Don and they don't want the Don to put any other sanctions on them? I mean, let's face it. My mother used to say, close to the church, farther from God. But what we've seen over the last couple of months is exactly that. The United States of America and Jamaica geographically has always been as close as they are today. And that's how it's been close for the last ever since I was born. From Jamaica to Miami, which is the closest point of the United States of America, we probably could get there in about 45 minutes flight. So the United States of America, it's not that far from Jamaica. It's never been any further away from Jamaica. However, China, which is like thousands and hundreds and thousands of miles away, has proven over the years to be better friends to Jamaica than the United States of America. So my mom's point had been proven. Closer to church, farther from God. So even though we're closer to the United States of America, our true friend has proven to be the one that's miles and miles away. The United States of America must have Andrew Holness' neck in a, what you call a deadlock, while Andrew Holness believed that at this time, when the world is facing a crisis, he cannot stand up to the United States of America and says, hey, listen, I understand we have an agreement for deportation and criminals and blah, blah, blah. But at this time in the world, all that has to cease. We can't accept nobody right now. We're not taking any chance. We already have a high number of people in our country that we have to be quarantined. We have very little resources. Cuba is here to help, but everybody's taking a risk. Even the healthcare workers are taking a risk. We can't deal with no more intake right now. Jamaicans are no Jamaicans. So what I'm saying, if Jamaica is going to accept these 62 people from the United States of America, it should have accepted the 45 healthy people that came on the ship. I understand the whole thing is politics. But at the same time, Jamaica has to stand up on its own feet at some point to show that they have some say over their country and they have some say over their politics. And even though we need other countries' aid for one reason or another, whether that is food, medication, defense, or whatever in the future, at the same time, we still have to let these countries know that we are a small country, but we are actually self-governed. We can reject and we can accept. Not because you are big and bad and have a bigger army or more money. We don't have to say yes to you all the time. So Andrew Holness, this is an area where, again, I've always said I like Andrew Holness, but I go hot and cold with Andrew Holness. And this is one of the areas where I go cold with Andrew Holness because I'm not feeling the rejection of the 45 and the acceptance of these 62. I understand. Don thinks he's actually a king. And as I've always said in this channel, the king is like a big baby. He's always throwing tantrum. If it doesn't go his way, he's firing this person. If this person doesn't agree with him, he has to cut this person out of the cabinet. So this president don't even need a cabinet because it has to be his way and his only way. And if y'all believe that I'm just an anti-Donald Trump type person, I'm not an anti-Donald Trump person. I'm not even an anti-anybody or anything. I just call it the way that I see it. And what I see from Donald Trump is if you don't agree with him, he cuts you off. I mean, look at what the Don has done recently. The world is facing its first pandemic since I've been alive. I'm not aware of any previous pandemic. The world is facing its first pandemic. Pandemic means every single country in the world is being affected by this. And in this particular case, it's a health crisis. And what the Don does, the Don withdrew its funding from the World Health Organization. Makes no sense. It would make a whole lot of sense if the Don had withdrew his country's contribution to the World Health Organization in ordinary times for one reason or another. But you can't withdraw arms from an army in the time of war. That will tell you that you are not in support of ending this war. You're not in support of finding a solution. The World Health Organization need funds to do its administration and find solutions and find medication for illnesses. And the World Health Organization also need money to fund hospitals worldwide. It also need money to publish and distribute health information. And at this particular time, Donald Trump and his advisors saw that it was fit to withdraw their 400 to 500 million a year contribution. Come to find out, the United States of America is actually the greatest single contributor to the WHO. I didn't know that, but what I also did know, I didn't actually know that the World Health Organization was not independently financed. When I learned that it actually relied on countries to financially support it, I thought two things about it. I thought then maybe the World Health Organization cannot be trusted if it's being funded by individual country. What I mean by that is, if someone is sponsoring me, they can dictate over me because it's their money that actually grease my wheels. So they can actually tell me what to say or what not to say. And if I do something out of pocket that they don't like, they can withdraw their funds. And if they withdraw their funds, then there's no more me. Then I become a weak entity. So I was kind of disappointed that the World Health Organization solely depends on financial contribution from other friends. I thought it was a body that somehow had its own money. I did know that countries financially contributed, just like businesses contributed to charity or causes that they think are fruitful or worthwhile. So I did know that money was contributed from government to the World Health Organization, but I didn't know that the World Health Organization solely depend on countries' money. Let me know, guys, if you share my view on the World Health Organization having to rely on countries' finance. Do you believe that those countries has an influence over what is published and what is not published, over what is said and what is not said? Because that's the impression that I'm actually under. And the Don, the king, the baby Don, do you see it as a tantrum throne that the Don in this time of what I would call a war? You know, it's a health crisis war. A war is upon the human race at the moment. It's us against a virus, and we need every arms. We need every breathing person on the planet to participate in this fight against a particular virus. And at this time, when we need the money the most, the Don has withdrawn its contribution. Does that show a positive sign to you or a negative sign? Does that show that the Don want a solution to end all this pandemic crisis? Or do you see it like maybe he's just enjoying it? Or maybe if he's not pampered or praised, he is not going to contribute. So at the end of the day, from what I calculate, this is not about ending a pandemic. This is about Donald Trump being relevant. Let me know if you see it my way. Let me know if you see that Jamaica is kneeling to the Don as a king. Anyway, people, that's all I have to ramble about today. So tomorrow I'm doing a live video. Make sure you guys check in and hear what I have to say. It's kind of more of a Q&A type thing, so I'm just gonna do my first live and wait for whatever question you guys have just to answer. It's kind of a chit chat, you know. It's a quarantine going on, so I'm not doing as much work as I usually do. So I decided I'm just gonna spend an hour or hour and a half with you guys just shooting the breeze from my channel. That's pretty much it, people. And as you know, on my channel, I accept thumbs up, I accept thumbs down, I accept agreement, and I accept disagreement. Because at the end of the day, people, each one teach one. Until next time, peace.